So metacognition really is a fancy word for thinking about thinking. It's very basic. And interestingly enough, from a psychological perspective, not everybody develops that in their brain. So if, I don't want to get too much into like psychology, but if a child doesn't get the attunement of their emotions from their caregivers, their main caregivers, they're not able to fully develop that capacity. Like their development, their brain development is kind of stopped. So if you think of metacognition also as a way of the capacity for self-reflection. So it goes really hand in hand with our yoga practice, because if you read the Yoga Sutras, right, it says the main sutra that we all kind of look at over and over again as we practice whatever form of yoga is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So yoga is the stopping, some people translate it as the stopping of the fluctuations of the mind, or the stopping of the misidentifications of the mind stuff, correct? So if you don't have metacognition, you cannot look at your thoughts. And that's what yoga practice is really about, isn't it? To be able to look at our thoughts, and then to be able to look at our belief systems. So that's a step further. Now they're calling it mentalization, is when you're in a state of mind to understand what state of mind you're in, as opposed to being identified. Because really the root of all suffering, according to yoga tradition, be it Buddhist, which Buddhism does come from India, yeah? So all of this is pointing us toward in the same direction, which is our suffering is caused by the way that we look at the world. It's caused by our mind. So once we identify with the fluctuations of the mind stuff, another way of saying it is once we identify with anything, right, there's pain and suffering in that identification. So our practice, our yoga practice, is really to understand where is it that we're identifying ourselves with and be able to disembed ourselves from that. For example, let's say I say I'm depressed. So I'm embedded in that experience. There's no difference between depression and me as a person. But if I say I am a person who's experiencing depression, then there's a little bit of space there, right? There's a little bit of disembeddedness. So I can look at this person as having this experience. And that's what metacognition really is to have that capacity. But interestingly enough, not everybody has that capacity. So it's really worth our while to be able to develop that capacity. Because without that, we're just operating very unconsciously in the world. And again, when we practice yoga, one of the reasons why I practice yoga mainly is to become more conscious. Right? We go from being unconscious and doing things unconsciously, not knowing, sowing seeds, karmic seeds, unconsciously, and then we have a big, apple tree, and then you wonder, I didn't plant an apple tree, I want a mango tree. But we planted the apple tree unknowingly, unconsciously. We planted that seed. So we want to become more aware of our thoughts. And how do we become more aware of our thoughts? By using our metacognition, to be aware of what am I thinking? What am I thinking about when I'm doing my yoga practice on my mat? Am I thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight? Am I thinking about a debate I had with my boyfriend last night? What are we thinking about? And how can we get to a place that we can be more present in our lives by practicing being present in our practice?